Get the fuck up. Simon says, get the fuck up.
Hello, people. So it's time to activate Alhaitham's Constellations and Weapon Refinements. We'll review each one by one, and towards the end give some closing thoughts. Please note, I am not a theorycrafter or expert, so everything today will be based on my knowledge of what I know about Alhaitham. And with that, let's get into the comparison demo. Starting at C0R1 for the initial baseline, here's my current build with a 2-piece EM set and his best-in-slot weapon. For simplicity in these demos, we're going to highlight the damage lines with max mirror stacks. The goal is to keep 3 mirror stacks at once for as long as possible. Since you lose a mirror every 4 seconds, make sure to regenerate them by casting Alhaitham's skill or charge attack in rotation. Let's also have a quick look at Alhaitham's ult. Essentially how it works is the more mirrors consumed, the more instances of damage. At 0 mirrors consumed, you get 4 instances, and it can be maxed out to 10 instances of damage if 3 mirrors are consumed. Here's a side-by-side comparison of 0 versus 3 mirrors consumed by Alhaitham's ult. Now let's activate our first constellation. C1 helps with Alhaitham's skill cooldown time by decreasing it in intervals when his projection attacks happen. This is nice for Alhaitham's damage over time specifically. Let's have a look. With the same rotation as before, after casting Alhaitham's skill, you'll notice a subtle flash on your skill timer. That is the C1 proccing. You can be helpful with Alhaitham's on-field presence by generating an extra mirror with a second skill cast in rotation, allowing for more dendro damage uptime. Here's a side-by-side comparison of C0 versus C1. In about the same amount of on-field time, Alhaitham was able to get 2 skill casts instead of 1. Alhaitham will probably have 1 mirror stack left by the time you cast his skill again, extending the dendro damage uptime by an extra 4 seconds. Now for C2. C2 gives Alhaitham EM based on the number of mirrors generated, which means his damage will get buffed. For simplicity, we'll demo 3 mirror stacks in the next clip, which will give 150 EM. I'm currently at 347 EM with my build, so I will be at 497 EM after casting Alhaitham's ult. Now let's have a look at Alhaitham's damage with C2. We now see an overall boost in damage for his autos and skill, since both his weapon and kit account for EM. Here's a side-by-side comparison of C1 versus C2. The biggest damage difference we see is with his projection attacks, and nice smaller buffs for his autos and initial rush attack on skill cast. But overall, a great constellation for an overall damage boost to his kit. Let's also have a quick look for damage comparison of C1 versus C2 if you generate mirrors before casting ult. Now on to C3, the skill boosting constellation. In the next demo clip, we should mainly see a boost in damage with Alhaitham's rush attack on skill cast and projection attacks in the rotation. Let's have a look. In the highest damage summary, I'll highlight in red the attacks that got boosted with C3. Side-by-side comparison of C2 versus C3. For a talent boosting constellation, C3 is definitely more significant than C5, because a large amount of damage in rotation comes from Alhaitham's skill. Now we have C4. C4 gives EM to your team when mirrors are consumed by Alhaitham's ult. And if mirrors are generated after, Alhaitham will get dendro damage bonus. For simplicity, the next couple clips will demo each bullet point one at a time. First, we'll show the team EM buff, so I brought Kazuha into the party. My Kazuha has 1029 EM, so he should be at 1119 EM with max mirror generation. Alhaitham is at 497 because of C2. Now let's show Alhaitham getting max dendro damage bonus from C4. We're starting off at 75%, so we should be at 105% at max stacks. Now let's showcase C4. Since we start off with ult in this rotation, Alhaitham will get the dendro damage buff at max stacks, so we will see an overall boost in his damage rotation once the 3 mirrors generate. Here's a side-by-side comparison of C3 versus C4. C4 is interesting to me because for Alhaitham's rotations, it will mainly be buffing him since you'll aim to start off with max mirror generation. But of course, rotations won't always be perfect. Sometimes you may cast ult and have mirrors consumed, so having both these bullet points under this constellation still gives you some sort of benefit for your team and or Alhaitham. So I forgot to record activating C5, but we'll keep this simple with the side-by-side comparison of C4 versus C5 ult damage. And finally, we're at C6. Woohoo! C6 guarantees 3 mirrors to be generated regardless of mirrors consumed. And if you generate those mirrors when you're already maxed out, you get crit buffs. We'll start off by showing each bullet point one at a time, and then get into seeing the damage. So let's cover the first bullet point. Here we see 3 mirrors generated even though we consumed 3 mirrors with Alhaitham's ult. Now let's cover the second bullet point. You can ult, then cast skill to overcap on mirror stacks to proc the crit buff with the C6. You know you proc C6 by his cape glowing. Now let's see how much damage Alhaitham does with C6 in rotation. Here's a side-by-side comparison of C5 versus C6. Of course, with it being the max constellation, we see the biggest damage boost due to the crit buffs. But also, his C6 does give options for his rotation with guaranteed mirrors. You can stack mirrors before casting his ult if you'd like for more initial ult damage, but personally I'd save that initial skill cast and ult first for maximizing his C6 in rotation. Now we'll quickly showcase weapon refinements one by one, starting with R2 since we just saw R1. Sorry I couldn't find a better template to use for a weapon refinement comparison. Here's each refinement side by side, along with a cute sticker emote. Now for some closing thoughts. After playing Alhaitham at C0R1 over the last couple days, I find him perfectly fine and pretty damn strong at C0R1. So I'd say this is the first stopping point to pull for if you can. Considering, though, all his constellations do give him some sort of damage buff, whether it be in relation to on-field time or just a direct damage boost in general, you can really pull for any of them if you'd like. I'd say C2 is the next optimal stopping point. Now, in regards to weapon refinements, they're never needed. I'd prioritize his constellations over weapon refinements any day. And if you're mainly only getting Alhaitham's constellations, that's totally fine, as there are other swords you can use if you have them. And with that, thank you for watching this video. I hope it was helpful, and I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.